So basically, we have absolutely no topic. We didn't even discuss that in the pre-show. So let me just say, welcome to another edition of Holy Crap, We're Still in Quarantine live show featuring.
What do you mean we don't have a topic? We
don't
absolutely have a topic.
Oh, God, not that topic. Anyway, we're going to skip that. Howdy, folks, and welcome to Dead Robot Society, blah, 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 blah. I'm Paul E. Cooley, the robot, but not dead yet. And joining me is Pooped Terry Mixon. Why are you pooped, Terry? Why are you pooped?
This last weekend, we had part of our fence blow over. And one of the local handymen who lives in the house behind, whose mother lives in the house behind us, was going to go ahead and take a day and get it fixed for us for a reasonable amount. Well, his life went to hell, so it's been a week of having to have my phone handy so he could come out and do work in bits and pieces, and it's finally finished like 5 minutes before I came up here to sit down and start talking with you. But it is exhausting having to have a phone and, be at somebody else's beck and call, as far as I can't be focused on what I want to be focused on because I have to keep half an eye out on what's going on.
Gotcha.
So I feel tired.
Yeah, I'm sure Craig feels that way. I went up there Tuesday, drove to Austin, and worked at the new office for SSR essentially, and worked there from Tuesday till Friday afternoon, and then came back. And it was pretty much wake up, go to work, eat lunch inside the warehouse or in the main house, get back to work. Okay, have dinner, maybe drink a little bit, kind of relax for a minute, and then dive back into the warehouse. And, it was just a long, long, long week. And I had been up nights before that getting ready for this. So, but it went well. We got a lot of shit done. It was awesome from that standpoint. It was cool. And
so now you're back home and you're ready to have a more sedate, relaxing, working only 14 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to that. But before I left, I got 1,000 words done. I didn't get shit done since then, since Monday, as far as writing goes. But that's not entirely true. I did write down some notes and things like that. But I kind of effed up my wrist while working at the new office because I didn't have a keyboard drawer and did not realize just how bad that was. So I'm kind of taking a day off from using my hand as much as possible so I can recover, because I have a lot of more work to do, because everybody does. But be that as it may, life is wonderful. I'm still tired. I blame Terry. It's all his fault.
I accept full responsibility.
But but I'm here. You guys are here. Guys, what is this? Okay, so it was successful. Wonderful. They made the one half of the dangerous part.
No, the launch is the dangerous part.
Coming in's dangerous too. Remember damaged heat shields?
Yes, but it's a lot less dangerous than launch, because things go boom during launch. Your heat shield, as long as you get up there, unless you've done something that's going to damage it, you're usually in pretty decent shape.
Like using defective glue?
Let's please not do that. Even though the space shuttle did lose some of their tiles every time.
Yes, but that time that it went bye-bye, it probably ingested a few more hits than usual.
What happened there is part of the foam insulation on the fuel tank broke away and struck the bottom of the shuttle.
Ah, okay.
During launch. Again, launch is dangerous.
I heard about the tiles. That's what I remember. For Columbia, anyway. Columbia was the first one, right?
Columbia was the first one.
Okay, that's the one I saw in real time because I was home sick from school. And I had turned it on, and I saw that thing in real time. That's why I won't watch any of these launches live. I don't need to see that shit again. I don't need to see that shit again.
Well, I've participated in any number of launches while in the Mission Control Center, plugged into the comm networks and watching it on the screens.
Huh.
It's pretty amazing.
JR should not be banned. I don't think.
Are you still got him banned?
I never banned him. After that whole episode, I went back into YouTube Studio and checked. And what was the first one? I can't remember. YouTube Studio tells me he's not banned.
Is he saying that he's banned?
He's saying he's banned.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Nathan said something about him.
Yeah. Nathan was saying, yeah, that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I checked and looked to see if there was other people that had that problem, and I did not see it.
You have him like somewhere set up in our YouTube account that you have him blacklisted or something?
No, I checked. I didn't even know you could do that. All I did was I hit the mute button. I didn't say block.
And when you look at him now, he's not muted?
No, he's not muted. I can't see him.
Boy, you really hosed him up.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'll see his comments on Discord, I guess. He's able to watch. It's not a private stream. I'll see his comments on the Discord channel. Anyway, my apologies for that. Whatever happened, I blame Terry, but we're going to move on now. What were we talking about? Columbia was the first one. What was this? Well, or Columbia was the second one.
The second one. So
what was the first one? I can't even remember now. God.
Back in '86. Was it? It wasn't Endeavor.
Because Challenger wasn't the first one. I thought
Challenger was the first one.
Okay, it was Challenger. Okay, never mind. I couldn't remember. Thank you, Rick. Challenger. Yeah, that's the one I saw live.
So you were a kid home from school, were you?
Yeah.
I was in the Army on field maneuvers in Las Vegas, just outside of Las Vegas at the time.
You said field maneuvers in Las Vegas. I immediately saw a bunch of Army guys in a casino throwing hand grenades as dice. That's what I saw.
That would be very exciting. That would have been a lot more exciting than what we actually did. We were adjacent to the Air Force has several bombing ranges out there that they used, and they had us stashed adjacent to one of those. And we were living in a tent, a huge tent out in the middle of nowhere, and servicing helicopters that were participating in Joint Air Force Army training. Red Force, Blue Force kind of stuff.
Well, I'm sure that made everybody happy when they heard about it.
We were sitting at the airfield watching it on a small TV when it happened. And one of those weird quirks of fate, because it gave me a very valuable lesson at the time. Everything that you see is filtered through the perceptions of the group that you're part of. Because we were part of the Army back in the 80s, where the big enemy is the USSR. We were sure the Soviets had sabotaged it. We were utterly convinced that that is what has happened. So we filtered what happened through our own prism of what we saw as threats.
Trying to get a little more light here.
You're doing a great job.
I'm doing a terrible job. So I kind of forget sometimes how many kids, in their schools, because of the teacher on board. That's right. I'd forgotten that. Yeah, Kristen McAuliffe. Now, and a lot of you probably, Terry's in Clear Lake, has been in Clear Lake for freaking forever too, though. So you saw a lot of the other stuff going on, right?
When you say other stuff, what do you mean?
The other, we've had other accidents. Yeah.
2 shuttles lost.
Were you working for NASA when the second one happened?
I absolutely was. I was in the building.
Okay. So you were exposed to a lot of what was going on there. And I live in Houston, so we knew a lot of people who knew a lot of people, if you know what I mean. When
it actually happened, they closed up the mission control room, locked the doors as soon as they realized they'd lost communication with it, and started trying to figure out what was going on. It was hard because they had to go out and tell the families that were waiting for the landing. So that was very hard. One of those weird quirks of fate is the telemetry still was coming in as the spacecraft was coming apart. So the last signal that they received for one of the groups that I worked with showed that the landing gear had just extended and locked. Which of course was not the case. Everything came apart.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. I don't think I've watched anything. I don't think I've watched a live rocket event since then that was manned. And I probably won't ever again. It's just too, it makes me too anxious. So I just don't want to see it.
no matter how much the space work, they make it look like it seemed like it's normal. It's exceptionally dangerous work. Anybody that gets themselves strapped into an explosive device and sent into orbit is taking their life into their hands.
Hell yes. Anybody who gets in a race car and goes over 220 miles an hour or whatever they do, you're putting your life at risk.
Now, one of the interesting things about the astronauts is they all know that at any time their chips could be called.
Yeah.
They can be in, but they will be the first people to tell you that even if they die, they don't want to see space travel stopped. It's too important.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever been a question. It's just that I think in some ways, every time something happens, it kind of sets everything back a little bit because everybody goes and re-examines everything to try and
years.
Yeah, it sets
After
it back.
The second shuttle was lost, we didn't launch another one for years.
Yeah.
So it's
every time something happens, it sets shit back, and it's just the way it is.
Now that we've got commercial space launches going, what's going to happen when the first one goes there? The blame is going to be labeled onto whatever company was doing the launch. NASA sure caught its fair share of blame, and it could stand some of it because it's a government organization. What's going to happen to a private company when they lose their first spacecraft and the set of astronauts? It's going to be ugly.
Yeah, it probably will. It just means that suddenly they're going to have to do regulation.
Over-regulation is the word you were looking for.
Maybe. Regardless of what it is going to be, reality is.
What is it? Nathan says that we're too much of a disinfected society. It's true. We're risk adverse. Even with dangerous things like spacecraft launches, one loss is too many. And the right words are one loss is too many, but you have to accept that losses do happen when you're doing dangerous things. Yeah. If you're a fighter pilot, you put your life at risk every time you go into launching your aircraft. Certainly every time you go into combat, you're putting your life at risk.
Sure.
But they're more risk tolerant in those type of those situations. Whereas with the space race, we're not. We've lost it.
I'm more interested in I don't really care at this point who does it. I just want to see it done. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I know that if Elon Musk goes ahead and gets a moon base set up, then he can move up there himself, and he already looks like a Bond villain, so he could go ahead and hold the world hostage, and it would be perfectly believable to
me. Perhaps. But, we've seen that movie, and he always reveals his entire plans, and the whole thing is scrubbed by 007, and then he goes, drinks, and gets laid. It's all good. I still think,
Mr. Bond, I want you to die.
No, I expect you to die.
Oh, thank you for the correction.
I'll be, nice. JR just sent his picture of his new cover. Starring Colonel Paul Cooley, USMC. Oh God, this is going to be bad.
It's time to get even.
It's time to get even. Yes, I expect you to die, Mr. Bond. Yeah, but not even Elon Musk is crazy enough to have a giant laser, although that would be absolutely hilarious if part of his plan was to sucker one of them in so he could do that exact scene and film it and have it be on YouTube. That would be so goddamn funny. You know, that's the kind of thing my Bond villain would do. That's exactly the kind of thing my Bond villain would do. If I was going to have a Bond villain, if I was going to write that kind of book.
You need to be like in The Tick, where they go ahead and build this heavy laser and start carving stuff into the moon.
Yeah. Oh man.
At least I think it was The Tick that did that.
Harvesting the moon for HE3.
It's hard stuff to get.
They made you've seen that movie Moon, right?
Maybe.
Moon
is a common one. Give me some more details.
It's just called Moon.
Give me some more details. Who starred in it? What was going on?
I can't remember his name. Somebody's gonna hit me with this. It's a guy who's out there. He was supposed to be on a year tour or 2-year tour or something. I can't remember how many years it is, in an isolated moon base, basically handling the automated handling and repairing and maintaining and offloading the autonomous vehicles that are doing the mining for HE3. So he's stuck there for like a year with just a computer to keep him company.
Nope, haven't seen that one.
Okay, you need to see it. It's really good. Really good. I think you really enjoy it. But I do not want that kind of thing. A tour. I've seen these people freaking out after a month or two. And Sam Rockwell, thank you. And Kevin Spacey. And he's just a voice, though. Who else is in there? I can't even remember now. You need to see it, though. You need to see it. I just can't imagine trying to live in that kind of environment. For a year? No? A couple of years? No. Mm-mm. Not happening. We're seeing people freak out after just a couple of months. So, yeah, not thinking it. Let's see. What else do we need to say? Oh, I'm sorry to hear it, Veronica. Oh. Somebody, Rick, I will get the Discord stuff to you. I've been meaning to post it in Patreon for forever, and I thought I had. But for some reason, links are broken or something. I don't remember the name of it.
What did Veronica say?
Veronica said that, unfortunately, one of her family has got to go have something medical done. So she's probably not going to be with us today. Hope they get better soon. Oh, no. First cat sighting. Start drinking. I am not watching Space Force. That's not happening.
Did you hear the epic level troll that somebody did with that?
No.
There is I forget which. It's not a museum. There was some building that had a bunch of aerospace and Space Force stuff in it. It's where the headquarters is. Somebody went and did a cutout of Steve Carell and his bio and put it over the actual commander of Space Forces, and they don't know how long it was there.
Oh no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, that's pretty sweet.
That is an epic level troll right there.
Oh my God. That is too cool. That is just too cool. I like it. I've
heard mixed reviews of Space Force. Some people said it was terrible. Some people said it was okay. I haven't seen any of it, so I don't know.
Not happening. Not happening.
What's not happening?
Me watching Space Force. Force.
No,
not going to do that. I don't know, man. I'm still of the opinion after Mallory Cooper brought up her points regarding the differences or the hazards you face living in space versus living on a planet, and how difficult it is to establish space versus establishing on a foreign planet. I'm kind of the opinion that maybe it really just needs to be a station that's outside of Earth's orbit. You could go to Mars. Just put a space station there. That way you get around the whole even landing thing.
The problem there is that unlike Earth, Mars doesn't have a magnetic field. So you're not protected from the solar radiation.
So how are you going to protect yourself on Mars itself unless you go deep underground?
Same problem.
That's what I'm saying.
That's one of the reasons that when they did the Mars special that they were doing, that was half drama, half science-based, that they put them into basically lava tubes under the surface.
Right. That's going to be damn difficult to do. I know they showed that they did that, but I think it's maybe a little more complicated than that.
Probably is.
I probably need to look that up though, because it's something I want to use too in a Soul and Beyond story. Or no, probably something unrelated to Soul and Beyond. I think this will be a standalone. Maybe something.
We shall bury them at the base of Olympus Mons.
No, you're right. That is a Soul and Beyond story, but that's a different one. Completely different one. Anyway, I'll have to. Okay, Dean said he just watched it and he thought it was good.
That series? I did too. I stopped it when they started being just commercial company bashing and making the commercial companies this mustache twirling bad guys. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to be lectured. See you later.
I don't think that was lecturing. That was reality.
No, you didn't see the lengths that they went to.
Yes, I did. I watched the whole. I watched the whole series. I did.
As soon as we saw the Cowboys, oh yeah, we just gonna come flying over here and drop all of our debris right across you because we don't care because we're commercial companies. Yeah, whatever. Blow me.
I think Dean was talking about Space Force, but I could be wrong.
I wasn't talking about Space Force. I was talking about the series they had about
no. Dean was talking about Space Force. You are still talking about the other one.
They said he watched that, Terry. So I don't know which one he's talking about. I think he's talking to me. It's got my name in there, and I was talking about the other one.
But remember, they're on a delay. Oh, you did watch Mars. Okay, maybe I'm confused. All right,
you're just way out of here, man. You're just way out, Paul.
Richard, I finished the third body problem. I talked about, I think, the last 2 episodes. I finished the first book. It is excellent. I have not started the second one yet, but I guess when I get my Audible credit tomorrow, I will do that. Because the first one was so good. And there
doesn't count. You haven't seen another cat. You know the rules. It doesn't count unless another cat comes on screen before this one does.
Is that basically what we're saying now? Is that
you gave that rule? You made that rule.
Well, I'm not making the rules.
You did. You made that one.
I suggested it.
Oh no, you made it a actual rule.
No, I said I did not make it a rule. I did not make it a rule. I never said this is a rule of the game. We have not posted it. We're not taking. We are not participating in it.
Tell Paul whether or not he made that a rule or not.
You can't even remember what you had for lunch.
I remember that.
Well, okay. Considering what you ate. Yeah. All right.
No, I remember the rule you made. So yeah, good luck on that one.
Yeah. I think you have selective memory. I think that's how that works.
You know, my wife said the same thing.
You know, I'm not really sure there's a spouse out there who hasn't said that.
I know, right?
About their spouse.
I'm pretty safe saying that because everyone's spouse has said that.
It's just in my experience, women are more apt to say it and more apt to be right.
No, it's just women are more likely to say it, and we're just too chicken shit to actually, try to get away with correcting them.
Or that. Okay. Well, both are there. I was going to make the Phoenix says he was going to make the rules, but I forgot after getting excited about designing Thanos Terry. The rule is to chug for the same length of time a cat is on the screen. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
No, you will all be paralytic. And then we can't babble at you in chat. That's horrible. There's only like 10 of you here or something.
Well, Paul, what I want to talk about today, because I'm listening to a hard science fiction novel that I'm not going to name because I don't talk trash about actual books that I name people.
I'll name them. I'll name all of them.
But the story that I was listening to involved near future science fiction. It was supposed to be hard science, and they did things with spacecraft that just don't happen. They had this space capsule moving and changing orbits and going pretty much halfway around the planet, going from low Earth orbit to geosynchronous orbit. Sorry, that's not how space capsules work. So when we're doing hard science fiction, how do you make sure that you're actually hard as opposed to issuing a hand wavium like we do as our space opera selves.
I take issue with the way you phrase that, but that's because
okay.
I'm 49 going on 13. I think by hard sci-fi we mean realistic sci-fi.
No, hard sci-fi means that you use real hard and fast science rules, that your stuff is not, slipping and sliding down the hand waving state, that the science is hard and fast.
Research your stuff and have somebody vet it.
Yeah. That's always very important.
The having someone vet it part is even more important than the research. And it needs to be somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about. If you're going to say that.
Sue's asking, speaking of Thanos, Terry, where's JR? And, you joined late, so JR is in Discord because apparently even though Paul has looked and it says he's not muted anymore, he can't get into the chat. So apparently Paul really snapped his fingers.
According to YouTube, I've never muted him and never blocked him, so I don't know what the hell's going on. That's all I can say.
That's what Paul says.
And for crying out loud. Go away. You hush.
Oh, she says hard science science fiction doesn't count unless it's been that way for 4 hours.
She's right. She is absolutely correct.
How to Write Hard Science Fiction by Boner.
By what?
The author name, Boner T something or another. You'd have to make it up. I don't know.
T Boone Pickens?
T Boner Pickens.
T Boner Pickens. There is a definite, I think there absolutely is I've been frozen by it too. It's the fear that you're going to put something in a book that's true now, and a year from now, they're going to debunk it. And then everybody, or even 2 months from then. I mean, Terry's talked about the guy who wrote the Twin Towers book and was supposed to come out, and then suddenly, before it came out, 9/11 happened. World changed very significantly, and you have to make a call on it. But I've realized that there's a certain level of paranoia you need to have, and there's a certain level of paranoia you don't need to have. But as we discussed previously to getting on here, here's the problem. When you label it hard sci-fi, the expectation of the entire freaking genre is that you will do exactly what you're saying, adhere to physics and science. This is why you find it unforgivable that is there, correct? Because they sold you a hard science fiction novel. Yeah,
they kind of did. And the fact that it's near future and the spacecraft is doing things that are impossible for a spacecraft to do, certainly within 20 years of now, that's not going to happen. So, yeah, according to the internet, hard science fiction is a category of science fiction characterized by concern for scientific accuracy and logic.
Okay.
And it lists as an example, The Martian, which is an excellent example.
Yeah, it does its best anyway.
Well, tell me which parts of science they got wrong.
I've heard people bitch about the way that they showed him being on Mars and for that long without serious radiation shielding and shit.
That would be a problem. That would certainly be a problem.
There was really stuff like that. I don't care. The book was so incredible. The movie was good, but they're two different things in my eyes because of the way they were split up. But I really enjoyed the book. The book
was amazing. I read the book before I saw the movie, and the book was, in my opinion, a lot better than the movie, but the movie was still entertaining.
It was fun. It was fun to see bring those characters to life with some of the idiosyncrasies that the book just couldn't quite capture. And that was the really fun part of it. So it was
anything that starts off with "I was fucked."
Yeah, any book that starts out that way. Oh my God, yeah. And that whole thing and just kind of rolls out. It's just such a well-told story. I'll forgive it anything. It's just a well-told story. The movie was fun in the theater. That's all I'm going to say. I enjoyed it.
I've given the author other chances. I tried listening to Artemis, which is another book they put out that's set on the moon. but oh my God, it was in present tense and I just could not get past it. Could not get past it.
Here we go.
Personal taste.
It is personal.
I'm sure that it was a perfectly fine novel. I could not get past it.
Do you really think there should be warnings on books told in third person present or third person future tense?
God, I hope none of them are telling them in future tense. Wow, that would be really hard to read. Let's go ahead and write this book in second person future tense.
There we go. You will have been doing this time before time. I'm going to have to find a way to make a sentence of that, or just like a short paragraph before the story begins in first person or person looking back. That would be a really kind of annoying thing to do. It would also
I double dare you to write a second person future tense sentence. You rock on.
Oh, that would be so much fun. Charles Stross did a series in second person, says Tony Joy.
I love Charlie Stross's work. Boy, I don't know that I could even try that. Which series was in second person?
Yeah, that'd be an interesting question to ask.
Hey, Tony's here. Maybe he can unmute JR. Maybe he knows more about it than you do.
We muted JR somehow. Can you see?
Yeah.
And you said you know the moderation stuff, so can you check in and see if he got whacked somehow?
Yeah, because Paul muted him, and now he can't get back into the YouTube chat.
Well, 2 books. The third was scrapped because of the Snowden revelations. Oh, interesting. Halting State is what it's called. Huh.
I've heard the title. I don't know that I've ever read those particular books. I'm personally waiting for his next book in the family business series that he does.
Nathan Betty, viewer discretion for third person omniscient and second and all present tense.
I'm going to write my next novel in first person omniscient.
Oh, no. Oh, I have a character that could do that, though. I do have a character that could do that. Oh, Halting State and Rule 34 are the books. Okay. Gotcha.
I know both of those titles. It makes me wonder if I've read them. It really does, because I've read a lot of his books. I love him as a writer. He tells some great stories.
I hear some really good stuff out there. I know there's really good stuff out there I've never even freaking heard of. So that sounds like a really interesting series.
Well, you know that Charlie Stross is also the guy that did the Laundry Files, right?
You've told me about that book, but I have not read it.
You've never read it? That is your kind of book.
So I've been told. I have it written down. I have it on my notepad. Do we miss the part where Paul's kind of not having time to really do much else? I'm 3 episodes behind on my YouTube channel. I'm behind on posting this podcast. I'm behind on writing. I'm behind on recording Trident. So you know what? Fuck you! I'll get to it when I get to it. Mr. I'm just sitting at my house with my 15 cats with nothing better to do than write. Oh, thank you.
Just for that, everyone drinks. More cats! More cats!
Okay, now, wow. Now, wow.
I'm such a jerk.
You are. You're kind of a jerk. Kind of a dick. Oh, gee, thanks, Sue. Someone give me some cheese. Wine, cheese. Yeah, whatever. I wonder if the moderator could mute a host. I wonder if that's ever happened.
I just think that would be funny. Your picture just vanishes from the entire thing. I'm like, oops, something terrible happened.
It comes up with a nice little window. This user has been removed by YouTube for violating something or other or whatever. It'd be like, I own the channel. How's that going to work exactly? Google's, whole system just blows up. That would be hilarious. Somebody get me a tissue. Yeah.
But back to doing hard science fiction, it means you've got to do a lot of research, because you have to understand more than the story you're writing. You have to understand not only little bits and facts about something. You have to really understand and grasp how the mechanism as a whole works. If you're doing something in space and you're moving from point A to point B, you have to at least have a passing familiarity with orbital mechanics and how that kind of thing works.
Do you get around that if you just plain don't bring attention to it, or if you don't market yourself as hard sci-fi?
I would never market myself as hard sci-fi because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to have to do that kind of level of detail. I would much rather wave my hand and be done with it.
There's been a dude who is apparently listening to every single freaking episode of The Black on YouTube over the last couple of days and has been posting nonstop comments episode by episode, or summing up the results of a couple of episodes. They're freaking hilarious. It just came across. The last one I saw before I started the show here was, well, that doesn't happen with oxygen, but that was like the first time he drawn attention to anything I'd done. I'm like, you're drawing attention to that when you're just bringing up the fact that this thing is eating everybody and everything, and this is what you're focused on. Oxygen doesn't work this way. Okay, all right, fine, it's cool. I know it dragged you out of the story. My apologies, but yeah, hopefully it's not that big of a deal. Still, the comments have been absolutely hilarious on there. They've been great. Watching those comments coming over YouTube, they're hilarious. Anyway, the genre expectation thing, I get you. It's happened to me too with some books where, they try and follow it and then they just kind of blow by it, which is kind of crazy. And I can see definitely how that would be a problem. Did you ever read Contact?
I've seen the movie. I don't know that I've read the book.
Okay. Hard sci-fi?
Is that a movie? Is that a book? I mean,
no. Do you consider it is Contact?
Oh, do I consider?
Yeah.
I would consider it leaning that direction. Sure. The parts where it mentions about the contact using the SETI stuff is all very believable. It doesn't do anything to violate the laws of science and logic that I understand. Now, admittedly, dropping your little rotating your ball through this little rotating thing to send it to the other side of the universe, that's probably going a ways to create a wormhole. I don't know about that, but sure.
I found that the best part of that and the way that he did that was genius, because the aliens give them the Hamwavium.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Literally hand them the Hamwavium, which is why they do what they do. And I think that by what happens in that book, and incidentally, if you haven't read the book or seen the movie, you should. It's worth it. I think it was created to bring up that question. What really happened? It's a question, kind of a question of faith, and you're not ready yet. Some of you are. Some of you are. This is going to start things, and then maybe when you're ready, we'll be ready for you. I think that's a really good way to do that. But yeah, but I thought the Hamwavium part was so cool because they never talked about what it was going to do or how it was going to do it necessarily, the exact mechanics, because I don't think he had to. I'm just going to drop the thing in the thing, and that's that, right? The thing in the thing.
The thing in the thing. That's very scientific right there. Good job.
Anyway, really good book. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Or really good movie, rather. Then the podcast would be Terry and Screamer. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I flicked her off, but didn't aim for the camera. Well, you see, the problem is the comments are over here and the camera's over here. So I kind of get, confused about which one. Is that better? There we go. All right. Just wanted to make sure it got there. Got that done there. Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Oh, JR, sorry. You've been leaving it in the program here. Okay. All right. Sorry. He's on Discord. MD Cooper says her stuff is hard sci-fi, but they have some weird body modifications that I doubt are possible. And it means what you want it to mean. Okay. I'm curious. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. I'll look into it. Cool. Yeah, insert Asimov's comment on magic. Yeah. The magic is told in such a way that it just ceases to matter. And all technology, if it works properly, is magic.
Space wizards.
Space reserves?
Wizards.
Wizards. Space wizards. Yeah. Space mage. Space mage. Okay. There we go. Yes. Thank you, Tony. I'll fix it, JR. I will. I promise. I looked for how to do it and couldn't figure it out. So, because none of the stuff.
Your power far exceeds your knowledge.
Look, you told me to do something. I thought there was a reason for it, and exhausted me went over and clicked the goddamn thingy, and yeah.
There's a story in there. Hey, Bob, go ahead and press that button. Sure. And there's the story.
And then the worst part is he gets angry because he thinks he's being trolled and like shows up at the creator's house, just starts beating the hell out of him. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that, please. Don't be that guy.
I've read Sufficiently Advanced Magic and the sequels to it, and it's actually pretty good. It took me a while to get into it because first I'm like, oh God, can something please happen? Oh, this is so boring. Please go do something instead of talking about how terrible your family is. But it got past it.
Well. Oh, he's got the he's got the picture. He sent me the link for the picture and bio of Steve Carell's Space Forces character.
Mm-hmm.
That is too funny.
That is some serious epic level trolling.
There's just a world out there. Anyway, yeah. So what were we talking about before I got sidetracked by this whole JR thing?
I was talking with Tony about Sufficiently Advanced Magic. I'm waiting for the next book in that to come out. I'm actually caught up in it. Although I haven't read the Six Swords one where it takes the character that can fight a god and looks at how he got that. I haven't quite. Maybe I did. I held off on buying that audiobook for a while. I'm waiting for the next mainline book in there because I want to see what happens next.
Tony says, introduce a character that can fight a god in the opening scenes, then on to whining about family for chapters.
It was the whining about family that made me stop that book for a while, but you can get past it. I was like, I can't imagine how I could possibly like this character and where it's going, but don't open the story that way, but you do get past it and it does work once you get past it.
Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate, and it happens to good books and will make people stop reading. War of Broken Mirrors is the backstory for that character. Okay.
I don't know if I've read that one. I only consume my fiction on Audible, and I haven't seen that one. It wasn't listed as part of the series.
I don't know. I'm so lost when I got into Amazon. It's like, oh, what am I gonna get? Now I got the 3-body problem to completely consume, but I can only do it one month at a time unless Audible has another credit sale, which they should very soon. He's reading book 3 on that series. Now you get to learn the Dominion magic stuff. If you set the expectations in the first chapter, I think you're good. Sci-fi gods fighting out there, Cthulhu tearing open the world and stuff running in. Yeah. I think that pretty much sets the tone. Oh, space elder gods.
So basically what you're saying is 2020.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much covers what happened, and we're being controlled from afar. I think there's some quantum entanglement involved, but I haven't been able to explain it yet because I haven't done my research enough to make sure that it's possible. But I'm fairly certain that the 3rd-body problem got it right exactly about what's happening right now. So that's all I'm going to say. That's it.
Well, alrighty then.
How much ham-wavium is too much ham-wavium for you to absolutely positively swallow in any way, shape, fashion, or form, such that you just can't even open the book or,
I like Star Trek. There's a lot of hand-wavium that goes on in Star Trek. It's not even consistent from episode to episode. I watched the original Lost in Space where Robot went from being warning, danger, Will Robinson to actually speaking like a human being and then back again. And I accepted it.
Yeah, but you were a child.
I could still accept it.
And
I can accept a lot of hand wavium. As long as the story is fun, I can accept a lot of it. I like Star Wars, so there you go.
Oh, God, yeah. But Star Wars is fantasy.
It is. So there's a lot of hand wavium involved with fantasy. You don't see much hard fantasy where they have to stick hard and fast to these rules of logic and not science, but magic.
And yet you face the same problem if you describe somebody who's riding a horse or sword, design, name, what it does, what it's made of. If you include any of those details, kinds of things, especially if they're a main attribute of the character or something that has to be talked about, I think you really have to be careful with it. Much more
Wow,
so.
Nathan went nuts with his caps lock and then redacted his own message.
He's going to try again.
It looked really cool, you know, with the leading off with the small letters and everything else in caps. I've got some of the books from Galaxy's Edge, and I just haven't gotten to them yet. It's on my list.
That seems to be the way it goes with most everything people are mentioning here. I've heard of it. It's on my list, but JR brings up reverse the polarity, uncouple the dilithium crystals from the quantum matrix so we can invert the time-space continuum and prevent the polar vortex.
Cross circuit from A to B.
Oh my God.
There's lots of hand wavium that I can swallow.
Oh, wow. Well, the more satirical it gets, the more lighthearted, the more it's just, it could be just on purpose. You're just trolling. Or you have one of the characters going, that's not the way this works. That's not how any of this works. And then you have a reason for it. Like when characters kept going through a portal and suddenly there were missing things that should have been there, or certain things were not where they were supposed to be. That was physically impossible. Well, that's because what's going on is not what you think is going on.
He says, too much cats, too drunk.
Too drunk. Oh, God. Tony Paul Joy brings up, bounce a graviton particle off the main deflector dish. That's the way we do things, lad. We're making shit up as we wish. The Klingons and the Romulans, they pose no threat to us, because if we find we're in a bind, we just make some shit up.
We've secretly replaced the dilithium crystals with new Folgers crystals. Let's see if they notice.
The USS makes shit up by Aurelio Voltaire. Thanks for that, Tony. That's awesome. God, that is just too funny. Yeah, it could be as simple as, have you tried turning it on and off again?
You know, somebody said that in Star Trek speak in a meme that I saw. I was like, that's totally what he said, but it was like long and scientific-y.
like extremely, yeah, just went off on forever. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you can have fun with it. It's just all, what was it? Galaxy Quest? Oh my God. How many ridiculous things were in that flick and the whole premise. And yet that's exactly what it was supposed to do, is lampoon Star Trek's penchant for doing that. Penchant. Tim asks, when writing short fiction in a deep, complex world, how do you keep things digestible and not overburdening while still getting the core of the setting in there?
You keep focused on what the character is doing. Don't let yourself wander by trying to explain how everything works. Only explain the things that you must for the story to move forward.
And
if you're looking at setting, yeah, you've got to have some things to set how the setting looks. Just don't go overboard with the setting, and you're going to be fine.
With signal decay, I am going to probably, on the edit for it, have to go back and remove some things I say about how they live. I think basically I just need to abandon trying to explain how the physics work or the science, and we're already kind of in ham-wavium territory anyway, and just go with it. Because it's going to be such a pain in the ass to involve everything there. So there's going to be some places where I'm just going to move past it. Because I don't want to have to.
If you feel like you're being hung up, then that's where you need to pull back a little bit.
And the other thing is, maybe by the time I get to that point, I'm kind of like, oh, I know how to fix this now. I know how to fix this and make it work that way.
The way that I am as a writer, I'll write the initial story out, and sometimes I'll be a couple of chapters later and I'll go, oh, that's how that thing I did, how I can explain it, and have to go back and add a couple of sentences or a paragraph or two to set the foreshadowing for it.
Yeah, it does matter. And you can have folks who explain things very, very easily, and you can keep going with it. I hate keep bringing up third body problem, but like I said, he explains quantum mechanics in a way that it makes it very, very easy to do. And I would say that is a fantastic example of how to explain hard science. Is something's there. But as far as the details, less is more. Unless it's important to the story or you're making fun of something, I would just kind of avoid it unless there's a reason for it.
Sometimes when I'm writing, I'll do something and I have no idea why I've done it. For example, the current last set of scenes that I was writing, they're on board an unfamiliar warship that it basically is from their own Navy, but it was captured by the enemy. They come to a briefing room and the hatch isn't metal. It's sheathed in expensive looking wood. And the character's going, why is this even here? What purpose could this possibly serve? And when I wrote the scene, I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea why this is here. Now I've got to figure it out. And that actually is one of the things that I enjoy doing as a writer is, okay, now I've done this thing. What possible explanation could there be for it? And how can I twist it to my evil ends?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
And it turns out that when I got done writing a couple of more scenes, I figured out what this actually meant. And I said, oh, this has implications for the next book. Perfect. Just what I needed.
Yeah. I can't say I disagree with any of that. What's the point of having this show if you're not going to disagree with me or say something I can disagree with?
Possums make great pets.
Jesus Christ. Sounds like throwing a spanner or the whole toolbox into the works.
John Ringo wrote a 4-book set called The Empire of Man. And eventually he's probably going to write more in it. But they had one character in there that he's this old school mechanic that if it didn't work, you beat it until it works the way you want it to. And they spend 3 books trying to get to a spaceport because they've been marooned on this planet and have to fight their way across it to get out of there. And the guy finally gets there. They steal a spaceship, and there's something wrong with the space drive. And so he gets down there and he beats the living snot out of the space drive. And when they get where they're going, the engineer's like, it's a miracle you ever made it here. Some kind of mental defective beat the hell out of this thing, and you're lucky to still be alive. And they didn't use the word fucking in there. It was pocking.
Pocking.
It was pocking. And then so the mechanic guy's like, oh, so that's how it's gonna pockin' be. And then he beats it.
Tony asks, how often do you find yourself having to backtrack when throwing those unknowns out there?
Sometimes.
Sometimes happens.
It doesn't pan out. I've introduced aliens and never went back.
Yes, but did you excise them from the book?
No, they're still there.
See, there you go. See, you didn't backtrack.
I didn't, but I haven't mentioned them again.
I think I've backtracked several times. Because I'm like, oh, what if I do this and I get a little into it, and I'm like, yeah, if I'm going to really dig into this is going to hijack the book, completely hijack the book. But worse, it was going to hijack this series. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that. No, the moment I go down this road, there's no going back. So I excised all that.
Yeah. Rick says he wants to see more of the Pandorans, the aliens that I introduced. And certainly once I run through what I'm doing now, that's a major hook for a follow-up right there. That's one of the things that the series could do when I finally deal with the ongoing problem of the murderous AIs. That's one place it could go.
Rick says Omega does hand wavium and wipes out the AI.
Yes, luckily I've limited his available hand wavium, so he can't do that. Otherwise, it would make the story too easy.
Hand wavium is a difficult mess to deal with. How much is too much? You have to figure that out.
Once you introduce a story where you can bring in other versions of your characters from alternate realities, then you start getting into the neighborhood of, what the hell is that author? What could he possibly do? He could do anything. There's no telling. He could do anything. I've gotten surprisingly little pushback on doing that.
Space opera.
I expected to get a lot of pushback on it.
Space opera. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I get the people that care, not you. Or the AI perform an illegal operation and need to restart. I can just that was always my thought, was to have a book where, you know, basically there were in my more darker moments when I was, well, the 90s, when I had to deal with a certain technology, always imagine that when it came down to it, somebody's defense system at the last moment before it was actually going to be activated and go for the first time, they would get a blue screen of death. And that would be the end of the book. Get the blue screen of death and nothing works, and they have to reboot it. And by the time it reboots, they're screwed. I always wanted to write that. Actually, I don't want to write it. I want to see that movie. Yeah, Kelsey performs Control-Alt-Delete. Does anybody Control-Alt-Delete their characters? Have you rebooted a character, Terry? Would you pick up a character from your space opera series and put them in a new series, file their name, rank, and everything off, and give them a little bit of a new backstory, but essentially it's the same character?
I haven't done that, but I wouldn't be adverse to doing it.
It's an interesting question, because think about it. If you have a loyal following with one type of book, if you pick up those characters and put them over there, for some people, it's going to be kind of like a cop out, and you're basically deriving yourself. For other people, it's going to be like fitting their foot into a comfortable slipper.
It's true. Mike Shepard, who writes military science fiction, he took one of his, I want to say, secondary characters. Her name is Vicky Peterwald, and made a series out of her that is running alongside his main series with Chris Longknife. So it can be done.
Nathan says, look at all the thousands of the Gundam Wing anime series. Yeah, the anime is so funny because it can just really tear itself all over in different directions. Evangelion, the final season or whatever, and then 3 years later they make 20 more of them. I mean, who the hell knows anymore? Yeah, Zelda too. It's all there's a lot of games like that. GTA is essentially just picking up the entire premise of the game, putting new characters and a new paint job on it, and adding some new features. That's literally all that game is.
Well, really, if we look at 2020, if we get to the end of it, we're all going to, at New Year's Eve, we're going to just shout Jumanji and be done with it.
Oh, no. Yeah, Rick says, I took a mysteriously secondary character, started a writing exercise to figure out the character, and suddenly had a new novel. Yeah, I can see that.
That's how it works. That's totally how it works.
Or I'll write them out of the novel that I'm working on. If it's a character I really love, but I realize they're in the wrong book.
So they just kind of like vanish halfway through the book?
No. It just means that there's...
Where's Bob? He went to Pittsburgh.
This is another situation where I kind of excise them. Well, I kind of actually did that in Evolution, but we're not going to go there. I kind of did that. Because I didn't want to write a book with 13 effing points of view. Thank you very much. God, I can't imagine trying to manage like 9 characters or 12 characters all working with one another. No way. No.
What's your max number of points of view in a book that you can comfortably do?
Main points of view, I think I'm pretty maxed out around 5.
5 is definitely the maximum for me. 4 works better.
4 works better, but I don't think I've written a novel with just 4 points of view in a long time, except Evolution only had 2. And I hadn't done that since, since a long time ago. I haven't just done 2 points of view.
Tony asked what the name of the book was that had the same characters and put them through different disasters. I don't remember. It was a post-apocalyptic series that took the same characters and they had 1 point of view for each. And it was different disasters. They would write, you get your 6 characters here, you write the zombie apocalypse. Next book, it's a nature disaster. Yellowstone is erupting. Same characters.
So basically,
what's going to happen with
every year, it's like some new reality interferes with shit. Cthulhu farts, and suddenly, we've got a Sharknado. Is that how that works?
Something like that. But I don't remember. I don't remember what the books were or who wrote them. I never actually read them. I just saw them and thought that was a really cool idea.
That is a cool idea. I don't think I'd have the balls to do it though, because it drags. That means it drags so much crap with it, right? Because suddenly you have to account for all those people and all that backstory, all that luggage that comes back with it. I would assume that is part of the problem. So it's very interesting. James Bond. Yeah, James Bond. James Bond is just a label, a marker, a franchise. It's not a person. A choice of catastrophe? I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with that one. Oh, they got reset every time? So basically the same characters start out and it's the same people. You're just reinitializing their characters. So it's Groundhog Day, only the disaster's different? That's an interesting concept. That's a very interesting concept.
I went looking and I didn't really find it. So I don't know what it was, but it was an interesting idea. It's like having the same base characters and just telling a different story. You could put them in a fantasy novel. You could put them in a science fiction novel. You could put them in a spy thriller.
Well, I had an interesting idea, and I guess if you think about it, if you had an investigator, for instance, who had a sentient entity partner, that sentient entity partner may change a whole lot. Not from just evolution, but they may be called back to do something else and you get a new one and you have to learn their idiosyncrasies all over again. You can have that kind of rolling thing. They kind of did that in the series Frost. He always had a new ride along. I don't think he ever, it's like every episode, and their episodes are like an hour and a half or whatever. Every episode, it just rotated. It's just completely rotated. This guy flamed out or got promoted or whatever else, and we have somebody new on this show for you to look at. Some new beefcake or good-looking woman down there.
Almost Human was good.
Almost Human? Oh, single season series. Okay.
Yeah,
same characters in one. Yeah,
it had Carl Urban in it, so I really wanted it to get renewed. I thought it was great.
Tony says then the same characters are a new one, so you learn their personalities and can start to predict things. Yeah, it's you can kind of predict how the main character is going to respond to them, but then you can make the new partner do something completely different to completely offset the balance, or have them die on the very first page before we even get there. You can shake it up all you want, and maybe do a book without a partner if you've got the main character there. Anyway, that was just an idea. Having a different sentient entity partner every time. And they're kind of starting from new as well, because they have to learn you. So it's kind of I don't want to talk anymore about this. It's a bad thing. I'll get going because I have plans for this. I came up with it the other day and went, yep, gonna do that. Ugh. I just wonder how people will react to that, but I guess Netflix and everything else have given us that idea. Or, like, oh God, what was the cop show with damn it, those guys in that thing with the,
That's
blah, blah,
very
blah.
descriptive.
It's like American Crime Story or Police, whatever God, I can't remember these guys' names. Shit. You know what? I'm going to give up. I'm going to fucking give up. It was on with the serial killer it was on, and then the second season sucked. The second season had completely new characters. Anyway.
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know. It was on cable. It was on HBO. It was really good. Somebody out there will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, never mind. That's a franchise. That's not a series. That's a franchise in my mind. If you're basically keeping the same header and everything else, and the characters are different every time, that's a franchise.
Did you have an opportunity to see
True Detective? Thank you, Tony. True Detective. Yes.
Okay. Did you have a chance to see the most recent? Oh God, it wasn't Suicide Squad. It was the one after Suicide Squad.
Probably not. I haven't seen a DC movie in forever.
I think you should see that one. And the reason I think it was interesting was Birds of Prey was the name of it. And it's got the same character in it there, but it's also got a number of other characters. And I went to the theater and watched the movie, and it was entertaining. Harley Quinn exactly was the main character in there. But I noticed that when you had a different point of view character, the way those scenes were filmed were colored by the character that was the central character for that scene, even when the other characters were present. If you were in a Harley Quinn scene, things were crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think that is a really a fun thing you can do, both fiction and with film, is have them living in complete different realities and show their point of view. And the characters or the viewers will get very used to that. That whatever they see stuff like that going on, they know whose head they're in. That would be so much fun, especially if they're all quote unquote direct.
Very different. Yeah. All these characters were very different. One was a cop, so very law and order-ish. Another one was an assassin. It just was very interesting. One was a kid.
Okay.
It was just, if you have a chance to watch Birds of Prey, I didn't realize it until almost halfway into the movie that that's what they were doing. I realized I liked it. I was like, why am I liking this? I should be looking at this going, I don't know about that. I'm like, oh, okay. I see what they're doing here. Okay. All right. I can live with that.
Yeah. Phoenix says, like the Matrix had a green hue versus real life. Yeah. You could tell when they were in the Matrix because things looked pretty. They looked manufactured. And then when they weren't in the Matrix, it was ugly. It was post-apocalypse. The way it should be. Is there a term for seeing the same story told from multiple different perspectives? I wondered about that. Is there a term for that? Does anybody know? Thanks, Rick.
Rick has to bail, but it's more like Christian bail as opposed to, the other kind.
You know what? I just take care, Rick. Tony, there should be a term for that. There should be a term for seeing the same story from multiple different perspectives, because I love that. I love that those kinds of stories where you get the completely different account of what the hell happened.
You got the other character that goes, were we even at the same place?
Yeah, exactly. Or you have Pulp Fiction. But not necessarily Pulp Fiction, because they're piecing together the same story. They're all taking a different piece of it and telling it. I'm talking about basically the people at the very same event who are involved together and are involved, like he's talking about, and completely different and separate, and seeing that their perspectives all the way through, each one of them. That would be fun. That would be really fun. A short story from Jim Butcher told from his POV, his daughters and his dogs. Mm-hmm. Hey, yeah, I could see that. Totally. Yeah. Absolutely. That's fun. Yeah. Okay. Each POV sees the same stuff, but continues the story just a little further. Yeah. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. I'll have to try that. Not Jim Butcher's.
That would be quite the story, telling it from Butcher's. I want to see the story told from Butter's perspective.
Oh yeah, I really think Butters needs his own book.
Well, with the things that have happened to him that you don't know about, he deserves his own book.
I always like Butters.
You'll really like what's going on with Butters now.
If I can bring myself to start the
series. By the way, it's only 45 days until the next Dresden novel comes out.
Uh-oh.
I looked at my Audible pre-orders, and we talked about the fact that Butcher wrote 2 books when he was writing the next one. So he's got Peace Talks, and we can pretty well tell how Peace Talks is going to come out, because the next book that comes out a little bit later this year is called Battleground. So yeah, I'm thinking Peace Talks isn't going to work out so well for them.
That's one bad thing about putting that out there. I mean, it is a little bit of a marketing thing, but it kind of spoils, exactly what happened in the last book. Kind of completely spoils it. And I've done it.
I'll have to look at that, see what's going on with Butters after his upgrade, because let me tell you, I'm not going to tell you the details of it. I'm not going to tell you the details of it, but you should read on, because it's one of those cool upgrades that I think you would enjoy, Paul.
Here we go. Oh, finally I can get some peace and quiet. I can finally get some peace and quiet. So this is for you, J.R. Haley. I'm sorry, did you say something?
Nothing important.
Okay. Well, that's nothing new.
It's me every day.
Battlegrounds could be a completely different set of enemies he alluded to previously. Yeah, that's true.
It could be. I really have no idea. I just thought the titles were an interesting play.
It just sounds so, wrong all the way through. It really did. Did you mute him? Do it again.
Do it again.
See the kind of wrath you have incurred. You've caused.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Yeah,
I had it coming.
I think you're all good for it. Oh man, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. Y'all got anything to talk about? Turn off the stream by mistake. No, StreamYard has idiot-proofed this enough that I don't in the broadcast by mistake. I do, however, in the broadcast studio by mistake, and kick Terry and I off when we're trying to have a post-episode conversation. That happens.
It's so good that he's real tech savvy.
Oh yeah, I'm real tech savvy. I'm a software developer. Can't figure out how to unmute somebody or unblock them or whatever. Yeah, I'm real tech savvy. This is one of these deals where the cobbler's children have no shoes, because I'm too busy doing everything else, and my brain is mush. Absolute mush. Be that as it may. Now JR is going to write you both into his next novel and skin the characters alive. Well, that will be cool. Oh, by the way, for those of you playing at home, there's another mini appearance. Short-lived. And a longer mini appearance, because evidently she needs to be hugged. You're welcome, Tony.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Buzz, buzz, buzz. Well, thank you for coming to talk to us, folks. I am going to be in isolation until the next time I go back to Out or Not. I'll probably have to go to Austin again in like 2 weeks. So do we outline or not? Yes and no.
Not a fucking chance. Never, ever, 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 ever until I write the scenes.
Depends on how you define outline. We'll go that far.
Really? How could you define outline? Seems pretty cut and dried.
No, I don't think it is, because like I said, it depends on how you outline. Are you outlining scene by scene with titles like I do? Are you outlining what needs to happen in this portion of the book? Or are you outlining every single paragraph that you're going to put out there and every single action that's going to happen?
I know some people that do the latter, and I'm like, I cannot even imagine.
I know, and that's really cool with them, for them and everything else. Do we plan out your novels?
I am lucky if I even think I have a clue how the novel is going to end when I start it.
Yeah, I outline the beats I want to hit, and I know, like, for instance, where the ending is in some cases, and I know I need to write to that. And that kind of helps me go along, even though what happens at the end may change drastically. It kind of informs where the rest of the story is going. That's pretty much what I do. But now that once I got past the first book in Derelict, that blew away all the plans I had for the series. It went in a completely different direction for me, and so I had to outline from there to figure out what I needed to accomplish in the book, and what the characters needed to accomplish in the book. So that started getting a little more hands on. Trident was a lot more hands on too.
Summer says that she knows that I'm a pantser like her, but do you do any kind of story outline or beat sheet after the first draft is done? For me, I do still do something. I basically write down every scene that happens once I've finished writing it, just so that if I have to go back and change something, I have a listing of what the scenes are, so I can go back and figure out where the heck I need to change something.
Yeah, that's the advantage of something like Scrivener or whatever, or leaving big notes for yourself in Word or whatnot, however you do things, to basically give a short synopsis of what happened in that chapter. That's what I do with Scrivener. Yeah, Scrivener's novel format is really good for that. Really good for that. It is really good for me too, because as a podcaster, it kind of helps me plan out the episodes, more or less. Yeah, recapping the chapter in the corkboard view. Yep.
I tried using Scrivener to write a novel, but I only used basically the very barest of features. I don't move scenes around. I write linearly. I start with word one and I write all the way to the end of the novel. And so it didn't really do me a whole lot of good.
Mm-hmm. Phoenix says he's the opposite of Terry. My outline is a loose, rough draft that I delete as I write into it. There's if someone were to do spelunking later in time over my stuff anyway, you would find all sorts of discarded chapters that are in a folder of discarded chapters. You would find dozens of them. And it's because they're ideas that didn't go anywhere, but ideas that I wanted to remember I had because they were good enough for another book. But they stick around because I may even use them in that series later, even though I didn't introduce them in that book.
I don't delete enough chapters to make that worthwhile.
I do. But deleting everything as you write, no, thank you.
That's almost as crazy as, having that writing program where if you don't write, it starts deleting
what you just written.
Yeah, write or die.
Scott Roche's awesome deal.
It's an idea crazy folder, talk there, man. Crazy talk.
If you have an idea folder and you can somehow put a synopsis on it, then that is really going to save your life later. Really,
I have a notebook that if I have just some weird idea, I'll write the idea down inside the notebook. Haven't looked at the damn thing. Not in years. Even though I keep adding things to it. Obviously, I don't need to keep going back and recycling my ideas.
No, you really don't. No, you really don't. Yeah, it's only planning a few chapters ahead. That's more or less what I do. That's more or less how I outline. But there are times when, with the last book in Derelict, I am going to have to outline like a mofo because I have to wrap up everything, which means I have to remember everything I need to wrap up. So I have to put that together and then figure out how the hell it's going to work. And I've kind of started that. JR asked if there are any updates on the co-writes in your Empire of Bones world.
Someday soon, maybe.
That sounds like the answer is there's really no update.
It's not quite time to go there.
One day, maybe not soon. I went from here to being allergic to here to being allergic to Austin to completely new different stuff to come back to be allergic to what I'm allergic to here. I just can't win. I just cannot win. Anyway. Well, guys, it's 4:20.
It's time to call it.
You know what that means.
time for you to struggle with Patreon so you can bring up the list of patrons?
Oh, my God. I know I forgot something. I've had like 3 nights of insomnia or purposely working like crazy. I'm just so freaking brain dead. Okay. That's my excuse this week. It's my excuse every week. Okay. I need minions. Let's see. Oh, that reminds me, patrons, if you're watching this, whatnot. Because of everything, they now have to take sales tax into account with your stuff. For some things. And I haven't yet plumbed into that. Just know that it's coming.
So there may be some tax implications for being a patron, but we don't know yet whether that's going to happen because they haven't been really clear about what sorts of things as rewards would be taxed.
Yeah. So I have to go in there and tell them exactly what's going to happen.
That starts the 1st of next month, I believe. Or is it July 1st? I've forgotten now.
I think it's tomorrow.
So the next set of charges from Patreon may not be a round number. Or they may be. Who knows?
It's only May. There's a 31st in May, isn't there? No.
Sunday is the last day. Monday is the first day of the month. Next month.
Okay, so there is a 31st because today is 30th. Yeah, okay, fine. Anyway, I've got tomorrow to figure that out. I'm not going to do it today. I've got tomorrow to figure it out. I don't think anybody's really going to get touched by that because I don't think we do anything here that would count as taxes. My patrons might get screwed, but we'll see. Yes, 31st. Well, folks, I'm very, very glad that we could distract you for a little while. And
starts July 1st. So not 2 days from now, but the month after.
And Paul should really log out of his Patreon and log into the show at Dead Robot.
Oh, heck no. Just go ahead and read your list of patrons. Come on, you can do it.
Yeah. That was going to be awkward. That was going to be very awkward.
Who are these people and why are they? Oh, that's what.
Oh, you know what? I haven't eaten today. That's the problem. That's my problem. Oh, I guess I need to close the show. Will you close the show, please?
Well, folks, just like all the rest of the times we're doing these live shows, we'll close out with our regular log off and I'll screw it up somehow. That's how this works. So if you'd like to send us a note to talk about any of the meandering topics that we've talked about, send us a note at show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can find Paul on Twitter at Paul_E_Cooley. You can find us on Facebook at the Listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast. We have to thank the good folks at Podhoster for hosting the audio for us. And if you would like to support us as a patron and get, live shows that aren't every Saturday when we get around to doing some of them again, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you'll get something special. And if you support us at the $10 level, you'll get your name read like Paul is ready to do now. Except that he's muted, so no one can hear him.
God damn it. I am having a day.
I should have just let you go on and just talk with nothing but your lips moving. That would have been amazing.
And this is why you should watch the end of the live show, because this is where we screw up. And our $10 patrons are Andrew Smallwood, Chris Winder, Drew Bernardi, Isabel Cushy, JD Barker, Joshua Sylvester, Nate, welcome Joshua, Nathan Crosby, Rick Shaw, Cheryl Winters, Tony Eljoy, and Veronica Jaguar. And once again, thank you, Tony, for providing our moderation and technical support when we needed. I really appreciate it.
If only you'd been here to go ahead and tell us, no, muting JR is a bad idea.
Yeah, next time we'll send the moderator a private message. We'll let them handle it. That's the thing. From now on, if Tony's here, you text him because he knows what he's doing. I'm trying to talk.
When we do things bad, things happen.
I'm not used to multitasking where I'm trying to do this and manage the freaking thing at the same time. It's more difficult. Oh my God. And now Screamer's made an appearance. Oh, well. All right. With that, we're going to close. Folks, take care. And we will see you very soon.